Imagine waking up tomorrow and noticing something very strange. You look down and see an extra pair of arms attached to your body. At first, you think you are dreaming, but the extra arms feel completely real. Within minutes, social media explodes with reports from around the world. Every human on Earth suddenly has 4 arms. Scientists are completely shocked. Doctors rush to examine their new bodies. Nobody understands how this happened. The entire world comes to a stop. At first, moving 4 arms feels awkward. Your brain isn't used to controlling them. You accidentally bump into things. Many people drop everything they are carrying. The first day becomes chaotic. But humans adapt surprisingly fast. After a few days, simple tasks become easier. You can hold more things at once. Grocery shopping becomes effortless. Cooking becomes much faster. Cleaning your home takes less time. Even simple hobbies become easier. Some people begin enjoying their new abilities. Others wonder how much life is about to change. And this is only the beginning of humanity's transformation. The biggest changes don't happen at work. They happen in school. Students quickly realize they can do more than ever before. One pair of hands writes notes. The other pair solves math problems. Homework suddenly takes half the time. Reading becomes much easier. Students can study different subjects at the same time. Teachers struggle to keep up with everyone's progress. Exams become much harder to design. Schools change their teaching methods. Art classes become more creative. Music lessons improve dramatically. Science experiments become faster. Group projects become more efficient. Young children adapt faster than adults. For them, having 4 arms feels completely normal. Toys begin to change. Video game controllers are completely redesigned. School desks also become different. Backpacks become easier to carry. Sports classes become much more competitive. Some students discover talents they never had before. Others begin breaking records. Education enters a completely new era. But school is only one small part of life. As people mastered their 4 arms, the workplace changed forever. Workers could handle twice as many tasks at once. Office productivity reached record levels. Typing became incredibly fast. Designers created projects much more quickly. Factory workers assembled products in half the time. Construction crews finished buildings faster than ever. Delivery workers carried much heavier loads. Warehouse jobs became far more efficient. Chefs prepared meals at incredible speed. Restaurants served customers much faster. Barbers learned entirely new techniques. Doctors performed surgeries more efficiently. Dentists completed treatments in less time. Mechanics repaired vehicles much faster. Farmers harvested crops more easily. Pilots adapted surprisingly well. Even astronauts found new advantages in space. Businesses quickly redesigned every workplace. New tools were invented for 4-handed workers. Companies that adapted first became the most successful. Older businesses struggled to keep up. The global economy started changing faster than anyone expected. Humanity was becoming more productive than ever before. But the biggest changes were still waiting on the sports field. Sports changed more than anyone expected. Every game had to be rewritten from the beginning. Basketball became almost unrecognizable. Players could pass and shoot at the same time. Defending became much more difficult. Goalkeepers became nearly impossible to beat. Soccer teams scored fewer goals than ever before. Baseball pitchers gained incredible control. Catchers barely missed a single ball. Tennis became twice as fast. Table tennis looked almost impossible to follow. Boxing changed forever. Fighters had to invent completely new techniques. Rock climbing became much easier. Swimming records were broken around the world. Gymnasts performed moves that were once impossible. Weightlifters lifted heavier weights than ever before. Video game competitions also changed. Esports players reacted faster than ever. New sports were invented just for 4-armed humans. Children learned these sports naturally. Old world records quickly disappeared. New champions appeared almost overnight. Humanity had become physically stronger than ever before. But outside the stadium, everyday life was becoming much more complicated. Life at home changed faster than anyone expected. Getting dressed became surprisingly difficult. Clothing companies rushed to redesign every outfit. Shopping malls filled with brand new designs. Old clothes instantly became useless. Furniture also needed to change. Chairs became much wider than before. Beds became larger to fit every arm comfortably. Driving cars suddenly felt uncomfortable. Car manufacturers redesigned vehicle interiors. Public transportation became more crowded. Airplane seats were no longer practical. Restaurants replaced small tables with larger ones. Families adapted their homes one room at a time. Parents found caring for babies much easier. Household chores became much faster. Moving furniture no longer required extra help. Cooking dinner became incredibly efficient. Cleaning the house took only a fraction of the time. But accidents became more common in small spaces. Doorways suddenly felt much narrower. Crowded elevators became frustrating. Architects began redesigning future buildings. Humanity slowly rebuilt the world around its new body. Then people realized forearms could change something even more important: relationships. Forearms didn't just change work. They changed human relationships. A simple handshake suddenly felt completely different. Hugging became warmer than ever before. Parents could hold their children more safely. Carrying babies became much easier. Couples discovered completely new ways to help each other. Family dinners became easier to prepare. Children learned to use all forearms naturally. Adults needed much longer to adapt. Weddings slowly introduced new traditions. Even dancing looked completely different. Friends invented new ways to greet each other. Teamwork became more natural than ever. Helping others required much less effort. Acts of kindness became easier to perform. But arguments also became more intense. Simple misunderstandings escalated much faster. Personal space became much more important. Crowded places felt even more uncomfortable. Society slowly developed new social rules. Everyone learned to move more carefully around others. Humanity adapted once again. Forearms no longer felt unusual. It simply became the new normal. But the greatest advantage of forearms wasn't daily life, it was survival. Forearms completely changed the way humans survived. Climbing dangerous mountains became much safer. Rescue teams reached victims much faster. Firefighters carried more equipment at once. Saving people became more efficient. Lifeguards rescued multiple swimmers at the same time. Natural disasters became less deadly. Emergency workers could carry more medical supplies. Building emergency shelters became much faster. Search and rescue missions improved dramatically. Survival in the wilderness became much easier. Hunting required less teamwork than before. Carrying food back to camp became effortless. Building shelters took half the time. Explorers traveled farther into dangerous places. Deep caves were no longer as difficult to explore. Mountain expeditions became more successful. Polar explorers carried everything they needed. Space missions also became much safer. Engineers repaired machines more quickly during emergencies. Humanity became better at surviving almost every challenge. But more power also created new dangers. Accidents became much more destructive. Society realized that strength without control could be dangerous. And nowhere was that danger more obvious than in war. Forearms didn't just change everyday life. They changed the balance of power. Soldiers could carry twice as much equipment. Rescue operations during battles became much faster. Engineers built defensive structures in record time. Pilots controlled more systems without assistance. Naval crews repaired damaged ships more efficiently. Drone operators managed multiple drones at once. Technology advanced faster than ever before. Robots were redesigned to work alongside four-armed humans. Factories reached incredible levels of efficiency. Space exploration accelerated dramatically. Colonizing other planets became more realistic. Humanity entered a completely new technological era. But not everyone benefited equally. Some countries adapted much faster than others. Global competition became more intense. New inventions appeared almost every day. Everyday technology looked completely different. Children grew up thinking forearms had always been normal. The old two-armed world became a distant memory. Humanity had evolved into something entirely new. Yet one question still remained unanswered. Were forearms truly making life better? Or were they creating problems nobody expected? The answer would determine the future of humanity. By now, humanity had adapted to forearms. But hidden problems were beginning to appear. Your brain had to control twice as many limbs. Mental fatigue became more common. Some people felt overwhelmed every single day. Sleeping comfortably became surprisingly difficult. Shoulder and back pain affected millions. Doctors had to invent entirely new treatments. Physical therapy became more important than ever. Buildings still weren't designed for wider bodies. Crowded places became stressful. Public transportation needed another redesign. Furniture companies started over once again. Some jobs actually became more difficult. Precision tasks required even greater concentration. Children adapted naturally, but older adults struggled. Some people wished life could go back to normal. Others believed there was no turning back. Society became divided over the future. Scientists continued searching for answers. Nobody knew whether this evolution was permanent. Humanity had gained incredible abilities, but every advantage came with a cost. The question was no longer whether forearms were useful. The real question was whether humans were happier than before. After years of living with 4 arms, humanity finally faced one important question. Was life actually better than before? Forearms made work easier. They made everyday life more efficient. They helped people save lives during emergencies. They pushed science and technology forward. But they also created problems nobody expected. Homes had to be rebuilt. Clothes had to be redesigned. Vehicles had to evolve. Society had to learn completely new rules. Children accepted the change without hesitation. Older generations still remembered life with 2 arms. Eventually, forearms no longer felt strange. They simply became part of being human. Evolution had given humanity a completely new future. But every evolutionary change comes with a price. Perfection doesn't exist, even with 4 arms. Every advantage creates a new challenge. Humanity would continue adapting, just as it always had. Because adapting has always been our greatest strength. Maybe 4 arms wouldn't make us perfect, but they would make us a very different species. So, would you choose to keep your extra pair of arms forever? Or would you rather return to the world we know today? If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating what-if stories every week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.